I welcome you to this webinar that is being conducted today by our leadership team member, Visalakshy. And the topic is the fundamentals of alt text. Alt text is like coming up in a big way because we need to ensure that we conform to the accessibility requirements when it comes to books or video, like any kind of content that we present.
So thank you everyone. Like today we are having this fundamentals of alt text, and I've been a founder of On Paper Publishing, and we specialize in alt text writing. So we have been doing this for the last 6 years, and there have been a lot of improvements since we started. And now with AI, we're having all the more changes to this landscape for text and accessibility. So I'll just go on to share my presentation, Mary. So today we are going to see what is alt text. So, I'm the director and founder of On Paper Publishing Solutions Private Limited, and we specialize in providing alt text for images. So we'll see what it is about. So myself, I'm the founder of the company, and then since 2003, I've been in the publishing sector, and I organized the editors conference in 2018 in Chennai. And recently, I've been researching on how AI can be used to generate alt text. And alongside my other entrepreneurial pursuits, I also advocate for a zero waste lifestyle. And I also lead a community called Eco Bloom in Pondicherry. So here we mentor ecopreneurs, and then we bring them face to face with investors to get their projects going. So you can follow me on this link. So I think most of you know like why alt text is important now. We are always talking about making accessibility, bringing accessibility to the world, and bringing inclusivity. So we have seen that in like decades before, we were making buildings accessible. So you had ramps. So whenever an architect is designing something, they had to take care of all the building regulations, which will make uh, buildings accessible to people who have mobility issues. But there are also other issues like we have cognitive problems. Then there are people who are visually impaired. There are people who are having hearing impairments and things like that. So actually, as per the World Health Organization, Jan 2022 reports, there are around 2.1 billion people in the world who are visually impaired or at different levels of impairment visually. And then it is actually the impairment in people with disabilities are like 15% of the world population. So they are at different levels of impairments are prevalent around the world. So it becomes very important that we have accessibility in not only in buildings, but now because all the content is there on the internet. And there are also other kinds of situational problems like you can't read a cell phone when you're traveling, or when you're in the sunlight and things like that. So there are also temporary disabilities, like you have an accident and then your eyesight or your hearing is like temporarily disabled. So there could be temporary disabilities, or there could be permanent disabilities, but it is very huge. Like there is a lot of population which is having those disabilities. So to make every this to make this accessible, the content which is on the internet. So that is how these regulations evolved, to include web accessibility also. So earlier it was just buildings being made accessible, but now it is including also web. It is called web accessibility, which means you have to make content on the web accessible to everyone. So that is how this alt text is started. So alt text is a bigger, like this alt text accessibility is a wider thing which includes hearing impaired people and all that. But now we are just looking about visually impaired people who need alt text to understand the images. Otherwise, the screen readers, they skip the images. They can just read the content, but they will skip the images. So that is why alt text is necessary for images. So alt text is nothing but you're giving description for an image. So it is a textual description for images and visual content, and also it improves the SEO. So SEO means like you have web crawlers which will search the internet for keywords. So for example, if you're having a restaurant and it has displayed all its menu on the on its website, so the screen readers can just read what is the menu, a pizza or whatever, but whatever is there on the picture is not actually seen for the people with the disabilities. So what happens is, now if there is a description about the pizza, so then it is more accessible to those who are having those impairments. So that is how, and also the web crawlers will be able to pick up those words and enhance your site's visibility also. So organically, you can grow your site's visibility. So it enhances the SEO search, and the purpose for you. So it is also used when your connection is slow, like in some countries, or you are in a remote place, then your images don't download immediately. In that case, what you can do is you can just read the alt text instead of downloading the images when your connection is not good, or you're in a remote place, or in a place where you don't have the internet is not very fast. So when you look at the history of alt text, actually the origin was in the 1990s when all these graphical web browsers came in. So before it was just text, and later we had these graphics coming. So that is when it had to be made accessible to everyone. So in those days when there was just text, Braille was the only form like which was provided to a visually impaired person. Later on, when the web browsers came, it was just text, and later only images came in when in the 1990s. And a formal standardization happened when the HTML form was introduced, and it evolved. Now it has evolved into various forms where accessibility is required in every form of, like, whether it's a PowerPoint, whether it's a PDF or a Word or whatever it is, you have to make your documents accessible. So this is a screenshot where you can see the alt text, how it is inserted in the background HTML. So you can see that the alt text will be introduced within those tags, the quotations, alt equal to, and there you put the description of the image. So there have been various accessibility acts in the US. Here we can see the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, which has Section 504, which prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities and federally funded programs. Then we have Section 508, which was launched in 1986, and it requires electronic and information technology to be accessible to people with disabilities. And you have the American Disabilities Act of 1990, which prohibits discrimination and ensures equal opportunities in all areas of public life. And the latest is the 21st Century Communications and Video Accessibility Act, which was launched in 2010. it ensures modern communication and video programming for people with disabilities. So not only the photos, but even the videos require a lot of accessibility. For the hearing impaired, you have closed captioning, and for the visually impaired also there are other forms of accessibility which has to be incorporated in the videos and images. So in India, if you can see like in it was like in US, in the United States, the accessibility guidelines are very strictly followed, and in case it is not followed, there have been lawsuits which are filed and all that. So it is very seriously followed in the US. In other countries, now the awareness is spreading to other countries also, and in India also there have been guidelines have been launched. So here you have the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, which emphasizes digital accessibility, and the guidelines for Indian government websites require WCAG compliance for government digital content. There is growing awareness with implementation across sectors. So even in the US or in India, the government websites should definitely have these compliances, because various kinds of people will be accessing those documents. So when it comes to publishing, what are the applications in publishing? So essential for making ebook books accessible through description of images and graphics. And we have guidelines like EPUB accessibility on how to write alt text. And we have the publishers, and publishers and authors are increasingly aware of the need for inclusive digital publications. So we have a lot of guidelines which are there for accessibility, and as per the government regulations also, publishers have to adhere to those regulations and publish all their books uh, adhering to these guidelines. When we see the applications of alt text, it is in ebooks, in web-based learning, social media inclusivity, email marketing, e-commerce, government websites, and technical documentation. So you can see alt text being used across many platforms, and e-commerce is also like e-commerce, and also social media sites, like everywhere, like in Facebook, if you go, there is automatic alt text which is getting inserted. So you can either approve the automatic alt text which comes with it, that is the AI is generating the alt text, or some other tool generates the alt text when you insert an image. In social media like LinkedIn and Facebook, any social media page, when you insert an image, so it asks for an alt text to be inserted. So also it provides an option, like it already gives you an option. So you can either modify it, or if it is correct, you can use it as such. So in web-based learning also, it is very important, because you have various types of users learning, students with various disabilities or learning levels. They are using the learning platforms. So it is very important that the website is accessible to them. So these are the guidelines for writing good alt text. So there are decorative and non-decorative images. So by decorative, we mean like it is not giving any information to the user. So those kind of images we don't write alt text, but non-decorative images are images which give some useful information to the listener. So we write only for the non-decorative images. And the best practice is to write accurate, context appropriate and concise descriptions. So later on I will show you examples of this. And also context is very important in an alt text. So this also we'll see with examples. So here you can see examples of decorative images for this Salesforce is a logo. So that doesn't need a description, so that you can skip these kind of images. And here you can see a handshake kind of photo, which is just just for the purpose of an icon or a decorative sense, and doesn't actually convey any meaning to the listener. So those kind of images are termed decorative, and you need not write all text for these. So this is an example where you need context for the image. So we know this cartoon, she's Peppa, but if we just write a cartoon shows a pig walking, so it will not give the character's name. So without giving the character's name, it will be too generalized. So in social media or somewhere, like you can see when the AI gives all text, so it might give some generalized all text. So when a human writes an all text, then we have to see the context and then write it as per the context. So when we read the surrounding text and you understand the story, then you will write a proper all text which includes the character's name and makes it more specific to the context. So alt text can be written in two ways, like either you have a short description or you can write even a longer description. So the listener who is listening to the screen reader, they have the option to control or change whether they want to listen just to the short description or to both short and long. So as per their settings, they will listen just to the short or short and long. So whenever there is a requirement like that, the alt text writer writes both short and long, or it is just short. It depends on the publisher's guidelines. So here we have just written a short description of this image. A man holding a clipboard and looking up at the stocked shelves in a warehouse. So this is the alt text for this image. And generally, photos don't require a long description. This photo just requires a short description. So we have covered everything in this alt text. So this is an image of a histogram. So here, actually, depending upon the publisher's guidelines, you can either stop with a short or you have to go for a long. So depending upon the guidelines, and here because this has more information, we are writing this short and long like this. The short alt text is reading a histogram shows the frequency of comorbidities in different age groups, and the long alt text explains the histogram in more detail. So again here, like this is the picture of Taj Mahal. So when there is no context for this image, for example, it comes just as a picture somewhere in the social media or somewhere, then I can just like that describe it as a photo of Taj Mahal. But when it comes in a book, in an architectural book, architectural design book or something like that, then it needs more context to understand that this image is being published in this context. So here, for example, the second alt text shows more description, considering that this has been taken from an architectural book. So a photo shows the Taj Mahal consisting of a main structure and 4 minarets, all made of marble, standing on a square plinth. The main structure is octagonal with an arched doorway and a dome with finial. The minarets are at each corner of the plinth. The monument is reflected on a rectangular pool extending from the base of the plinth. So this is how you will write in case it is an architecture book. And also when you're writing alt text, it is important that you don't give your own interpretations. You have also you have always have to describe the image as it is without any interpretations. So here now with if you're having the recent Microsoft Word suite and Microsoft Word and PowerPoint. So in that, you have an option to check the accessibility of a document or a PowerPoint or an Excel. So in every application, the accessibility is incorporated. So here, for example, in a PowerPoint, if I go to this image, you can see this option to check the accessibility of the PowerPoint, which I'll show you even later. So here, when you say view alt text, so the alt text is there blank. So you can ask generate alt text for me. So you can click on that button and then you will get this. This is the automatically generated alt text. A person holding a clipboard and pen in a warehouse. So because now AI is getting advanced, so we can see that the alt texts are also getting better. Like 1 year or 2 years back, it wouldn't describe correctly, but nowadays, like you are getting more appropriate alt text as it is getting updated. So if you're having Microsoft Office or Microsoft 365 in your computers, I think you will get a good alt text. So this can be generated when you're writing as an author. If you're writing a word in a Word document or you're inserting images in a presentation, you can go for these options and use these alt text. But in case you're not happy with that alt text, you can also change it. So let us look at what are the skills required for writing alt text. So you need to understand the context, which is very important. So as it is better to write alt text in subjects which you have a subject matter expertise. Like you have read chemistry, you have academics, depending upon your academic background. So you will understand the context better. So which is very important to write alt text. And you have to write very concisely. Like you can't write long text without which are not meaningful. So within few words you need to convey what is there in the image without writing anything unnecessary. So and also you need to be sensitive to the audience, because it is for people with disabilities. You should be very sensitive about what you're writing. For example, we don't even use the word seen, 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 and sometimes we avoid colors also. Most of the times we avoid colors. In a few cases we allow. So those kind of other factors should be considered when you're writing for this audience. So we can now we have AIs and tools for generating alt text, and it is getting better by the day. But still, an alt text writer has to evaluate what the AI is doing. So here I will show you this site also, alttext.ai, which is having these automatic alt text, and this bar.google.com is there. And Microsoft also has vision products, AI vision. So, in conclusion, this accessibility is needed to make the internet a friendly place for everyone. So, it is a very um, important thing to consider whenever we are creating documents. And in publishing also, it is a very important factor because you have to follow the guidelines. All these guidelines have to be followed, and also it increases the engagement and user satisfaction in websites. And we need to be stay updated with the current documents, current regulations. So in on-paper publishing, we started in 2016, and we have created alt text for images on different kinds of subject with different complexity levels. So in academic subjects, for example, chemistry or physics, the complexity is more like I showed you some simple examples, but there are even other complex biology diagrams, chemistry, physics, and all those math. So there are complex levels of diagrams. So we are an expert in writing for various levels of complexity. And also we can validate AI generated alt text in our company. And we have also been doing copy editing and plagiarism checks on research papers. And our current team has 2 decades of experience as copy editors, alt text writers, and trainers. And we provide tailor-made solutions to the changing, evolving needs. So far we have generated alt text for around 3 lakh images and copy edited 1.3 million words. And we have trained 100 people in alt text writing. So we also have a very comprehensive course on alt text. So we have a free playlist on our YouTube channel so that you can have a look. Like we have the introductory sessions are free, so you can go through them and see if you're interested to learn more about alt text, which could also be like an alternative career choice for copy editors. And also now, since there is a lot of advancement because of the AI, even authors will be expected to write their own alt text in future. So it is better for authors and project managers to even learn about more about accessibility. So the advanced course will consist of 6 pre-recorded online sessions, and we also provide brief notes with each session. And after each session is over, we have an exercise which will be reviewed by the trainer. And after that, we have one-on-one meetings with the trainer, and each exercise is discussed with one-on-one. And then we provide a certificate at the end of the course. So these are the sessions which we have in this course. The session 1, we will teach you on how to write tables and photos, and we have corresponding exercises on it. And session 2, we teach about artworks, paintings and sculptures, illustrations, cartoons, comics, and corresponding exercises for that. In session 3, we teach you about graphs, bar graph, line graph, and area graph. In session 4, we teach you pie chart, graphs with error lines, scatter plot, box plot, and dot plot. In session 5, we have flow diagrams and organizational charts. In session 6, we have a discussion on all these previous exercises. So in addition to, after this 6th session closes, we also now train people on how you can use AI to write your alt text better. and also like where not to use AI also, because we have privacy issues, and we have to be careful about copyright. So all these after the 6 sessions are over, and you get an idea about what is alt text and how it has to be written. So later on, we even take you through how AI can be used to write alt text. So this course is for authors, as I said, like because authors will be expected to write alt text in a few couple of years or even immediately, because the author tools the authors are having tools to copy edit and write they're having platform to work on. So in that platform, these could be incorporated. The copy editors and project managers in typesetting, production editors, technical writers for SEOs, and product description writers. So no, we are just talking about academic publishing, but the web developers also need their site to be accessible, and they also use a lot of images. So they need accessibility. They need to check the accessibility of their website, and they need to insert alt text for their images. So we will be launching a site like in a month's time, where we are going to have all these courses put together so that it is easily reachable to all the people. So you can download this course and take it at your own pace. So we are also planning to collaborate with different trainers out of our company also, to bring in various types of courses and do an advanced learning program in this site through this LMS. So these are the courses which we do after the basic course. And in this book, which all the ICF was taken forward by Vivek by Mr. Vivek. So I've also written a chapter in this book. So you can purchase this book on Amazon as a hard copy or soft copy. The link is shared on the chat. So I've written this chapter on alt text writing. So before I go on to questions.
Thank you very much, Visa. So thanks, everyone. That's a really fascinating run around alt text. Gosh, that's lots of things I didn't know. So Vivek is going to host a bit of Q&A and discussion now. So if you have any questions, pop them into the chat or the Q&A either. And there's a few there already. So Vivek, would you like to pick up some already, and we'll see who if
Sure.
you can help us?
Yes, Marian, I start with your question because that's the first one on the list. So Mary is asking whether a visually impaired person know how that a website has alt text by a badge or something, or do they just see that it has or doesn't have by using it? So how do they come to know whether a website is like alt text compliant, or is there a way? So like when we are talking of financial security, so your website has that HTTPS. You have the S, and then there is a padlock feature also on the home page. So is there something similar for alt text? That's what Mary wants to know.
So far, I've not seen something, an identification or something which is there on these websites. Just by going through, like checking, for example, when a Word document is sent to us, we just run the accessibility checker to find out whether it's accessible. So that is how it is being done so far. So I'm not very sure about this, whether there is a identity for these websites. I will check and let you know. But so far, I've not come across such a thing.
Okay, Visa.
Yeah, if
Um,
others here know about it also, they can share.
Visa,
and
can I ask you to stop your screen share and then we will be able to see you on the screen?
Oh,
Just turn off your screen share. There we go. And
okay.
then we can see you, and that's nicer. Thank you.
What is the next question?
Bindu, yeah, Bindu man, and she wants to know how does all text help explain a complex physics or chemistry diagram? So,
That
I
we have to show you examples. Maybe you can see our free playlist, which is on YouTube. So in that, we have given examples of a few more images, which explains physics and chemistry diagrams.
I recall that there is a diagram in the book, the chapter that you have contributed, but it's related to biology. But if Bindu has the book, maybe she can have a look at that also.
Okay.
And yeah, Mary has another query. Is there a way of finding out how much of your alt text is used on a website or on your social media? Does it form part of the normal analytics?
I don't think so. There is an analytics, uh, but accessible. I think the accessible websites can be found out using analytics. Finding how much alt text is. You mean within the website or throughout the internet she means?
Well, I was just wondering, like I'm thinking about Easy's own website and our own social media. You know, so we have some auto-generated alt text that happens when we create a page, but I haven't done anything. I haven't sort of done any monitoring of that or looking to see whether anyone's using it or whether it's not very good. So this has made me think about my own what I do every day when I'm creating web pages for ease, and certainly on our social media. So I just wondered if it was possible to know, how much it was being used, like whether that formed part of the analytics that you could find out, or whether you'd be doing it a bit in the dark and it might be being useful to a very few number of people, or it might not. I'd sort of wanted to try and get a handle on how big the problem was.
Okay. Actually, with regard to publishers, it is mandatory for them. But with regard to web developers and accessible websites, only government websites are mostly accessible for now. So, but the regulations might extend slowly to other private websites also, like your website or others. So it might extend in future to encompass everything. But right now, the government ensures the government websites are accessible. So it is mandatory for them. For others, it might slowly come into picture. But a majority of the websites, I would say, it's not there. Maybe at least like only 10% of the websites are accessible or something like that. 90% will not have the necessary things. But slowly the scenario is changing, and because all text now is written by the AI, so it is improving. The situation is improving.
And how is that monitored? Is there a body that monitors that?
Yeah, it is the regulatory bodies are monitoring. In US, it is very detailed, but in UK there are a few other bodies which are monitoring this, but it is not as big as in the US.
Okay, thank you.
In India and UK, I read that it is just starting out. So it is just 3-4 years since they've started out like that. So it will later come into picture, but now to make your site inclusive and accessible, it is better like you can do this for you for ease also, because it has a very wide audience across the world. So you can consider doing it for your site. And with AI also, like you can check this alttext.ai sites, where as you put your image, it generates the alt text. So as you even change the image, it will generate alt text. So you can have somebody to validate your website's alt text.
Okay.
Krishna wanted to know the names of the tools that can be used to create alt text, because you mentioned AI quite a few number of
Yeah.
times. So what are the tools that are, or the automation software that are being used?
So I said there is one website, alttext.ai, which gives short alt text. And currently in ChatGPT, you can upload your images and it is able to write a longer description also. But you need to validate and you need to give the context also. And it is, if you have data, for example, web developers, their images of you, if you are creating, you are the author of the image, it is easy to check the chat GPT. But if you have privacy issues, then you have to use the enterprise model where the model doesn't learn from your image. So you have to check concerns like that, where the image is not, your image is not used for learning purposes. So you have to check that privacy issues and then use these tools. So ChatGPT is paid version, not the free version. The paid version, you can upload your image and then it will be able to generate an alt text for it. But it has to be validated. Like it is like 70-80%, but in different cases the scenarios change. So for some image it is giving an accurate alt text. For some images it might not. So it also depends on how you will train the alt text. For example, we have a 3 lakh image database. So I will use that to train the AI. So if you have a database, also you can use the various examples and train it so that you get a more accurate output. So if you are doing it random, it will be like 40-50% of output. So if you're doing it with a database, you're training it with a model, then it will get more accurate.
Yeah, and I would say you are lucky in that way, because you have been working in this field for so many years, so you have a database on which you have the copyright. You don't have to like really get permission from anyone to train your own AI software.
Yeah.
There is a query by Jyotsna. Uh, you said it suggested that colors not be mentioned in all text.
Yeah.
Could you share some examples of such instances?
Right away, like I don't have any images, but any image you see, it includes color, but it is not necessary to mention the color unless, for example, there is a caption. In the caption, they say that the red line indicates this, the green line indicates this. Then you have to mention that the red line is there in the graph, which goes from here to here. But otherwise, it is not needed to say a visually impaired person who doesn't have the color thing. So it is kind of sensitive to keep mentioning about colors. So we just avoid the use of colors unless it is mentioned in the caption, which is going to be read to them. Then it will make sense to say that red line and blue line. And also when you're, for example, you're talking about a color wheel and all things like that, which are totally about colors, then you have to mention about colors. Otherwise, we have to leave out the reference of color.
The second query by Krishna: many of us are working as freelancers. So, do employers provide Chat GPT plus subscription um, access, or some other tool that the freelancer can access?
But I mean the employers, whether the employers will give the subscription.
Yeah. That's the question.
She is a freelancer.
Yeah.
So if you are a freelancer, I think you can try experimenting on your own. or you can check with the person who is employing you if they want you to be trained on certain tools. And if they're not using any tools, I think you have to get your own subscriptions and experiment on it. And nowadays, I feel few companies like they are giving AI generated alt text and asking people to validate. So in-house, they do the AI part and then give it to freelancers to validate the remaining human part to be done.
She has some further follow-up questions also. Are there specialized tools? Are they not expensive? And color agnosticity is only applicable for colorblind individuals. So basically, three more sub questions that you can see in the chat.
Yeah, yeah. Specialized tools, I don't know what she means. Like all these are also specialized only. Like ChatGPT is too very advanced, and you can make it more specialized by giving more data to it. That is the only thing which we can add. So as we train the model, it gets better. So as you give your specifications, like you have for every publisher, there is an alt text guideline. So that guideline also has to be learned by the tool, by the AI. So as you change, like if you're working for TNF, then that publisher's guideline. So as per that, you have to train the model. So it gets specialized by the way you work with it. And color is not only for the color blind individuals, but for all people. Not it's not expensive if you want to try chat GPT versions, then I think it's just 2000 per month. So you can try it for a month.
Thanks,
So
Visa. And next
employment
query from Moti
opportunities.
Paul.
Yeah,
What are the employment opportunities for all text writers? I think that's the most important question. And
yeah.
do you have any figures like how many all text writers are required at present, or how many do we have, and what's the projection?
Projections are not very clear, but in general, like people, it is the opportunities are there for in the academic side, and but you have to be updated, keep yourself updated. That is important. And then on the web developer side, like as Mary was asking, there are a majority of websites which don't have alt text. So, and also in like in Google, also I've seen that Google is there are a lot of AI generated alt text throughout the internet, and Google needs people who can validate those images, alt text. So every day, like millions of images are getting uploaded into the internet. So everything has to be made accessible. So nowadays, automatically the alt text comes up when somebody uploads an image, but it could be incorrect, like 50% incorrect and 50% correct, like that. So they are asking freelancers and other people to validate those alt text. So you can take on that validation role. So that opportunity is there. Other than that, publishing is a big sector where we have opportunities for alt text writers. So, but in publishing, you have to get more specialized. So, depending upon the subjects, like chemistry, or whether you're a chemistry expert or physics. So, as you specialize, your options get better. So, your employability gets better.
I have been reading questions from the chat box. It will be nice if some of the people they ask their questions live directly. So Arun, I think you had a query about the e-commerce use of alt text in e-commerce platforms. So can you please unmute yourself and ask your query? I think he has left, but still
What is
we
the
can.
question?
What's your perspective on the use of alt text in platforms like Amazon? Is it a practice that's being widely implemented?
Pardon me, I don't get you.
Uh,
Where where have we got to with the writing your
No,
research paper?
it's from Aaron
Arun
Srinivasan.
Srinivasan.
He's a bit further up the chat. So if you scroll back up,
Arun, okay.
he asks, alt text seems particularly beneficial on e-commerce platforms like Amazon. What is your perspective on this? And is this practice that's already being widely implemented? Can you see it there?
It's a practice that is already being done. These platforms, e-commerce platforms, more than accessibility, they want their sites to be on the top, like organically when when the web crawlers search for websites. So when you populate it with more keywords, like all these alt text, so their website comes on the top. So that is why the e-commerce websites will definitely have alt text for the sake of bringing the SEO up.
So I don't see any more queries.
So Vivek, I'm sure that Visa would be happy to respond to some questions by email if people have people come back to this, and obviously some people aren't here and will receive the recording, so may have questions after they've had a chance to watch the recording. So please feel free, if you'd like to ask Visa a question, send it to me at ease and I will forward it to her.
Okay, sure, Mary.
Thanks, Vivek. So Vivek, we're nearly at our hour, so I have just a couple of forthcoming events that I could just promote to our audience here. Are you happy for me to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let me just share my screen. So we have two further events this side of Christmas. So next week, for our normal EASE member webinar series, we have a webinar by Laura Featon next Tuesday, and it's on the subject of co-review. So she's looking at, how can we ensure that early career researchers are recognised when they've reviewed alongside a more senior colleague. So she's going to be discussing that and talking about all things peer review. And then that's today. And then our final one before Christmas will be the following Tuesday. So Tuesday, the 19th of December. And this is a get-together that's open to everybody. So it's being hosted by Duncan Nicholas, our past president. And Duncan, as you know, is very much involved in doing all our social media and all of our comms. So Duncan is going to be looking at how do you feel about your communication channels? Are you still using social media? How do you like to receive your communication? Do you like newsletters or video links or whatever? So that will be a sort of open session from 3 to 4 UK time on Tuesday the 19th. So please feel free to go along to the website and register for either of those things. I think Krishna would like to speak a minute, so let's just let me just make sure that he's.
Hi, can you hear me?
Krishna, go ahead and have your say just before we finish.
Yes, I mean I'm not sure what I'm asked to speak about, but I think I was asked to speak about something. Do you want me to elaborate on my queries?
Yes.
The last. Oh yeah. So I'm just curious as to how we can use technology as, let's say, all text writers or generally freelance writers in terms of using technology to, let's say, optimize our workflows. And that's the reason why I was asking if there were specific products that a freelance editor or writer could use to generate it. And my argument about the ChatGPT product being generic is that it's a very generic large use case language model, and I was wondering if there are specifically trained models that can be used for this, which are more efficient and more, let's say, environmental friendly.
Actually, what you can do is you have to create a like, for example, ChatGPT is a generic thing. you have to make it like purchase an enterprise edition and make it take data which is needed and then modify it according to your needs. So ChatGPT or whatever the large language models could be, so it has to be made specific to our needs, whatever your company or whatever your particular specific need is. So that is how we can make it more specific. It is like dependent on us to make it specific to our needs.
No. I mean,
So you're
I
talking
understand
as
that.
an individual or as a company? You have a company or you're talking as an
Is the question for me?
yeah.
No, I'm talking as an individual, and I have a response to this explanation. My idea is, look, ChatGPT. I understand that if you custom train models, any model, any big large language model can be, let's say, repurposed for a specific use case. But I'm also expecting products to be already there, trained models already be there for, let's say, all text generation, like how image generation can be done using DAL-E or Mid-Journey or something like that. There must be some models dedicated for all text generation. And that's my question. Is there anything like that?
So that is what alltext.ai is one site, which
Right.
is having such a thing. So you can try that.
Right.
I
Okay,
can send
that's
you
about it.
I can send you other things also, other links later on.
Yeah, that would be lovely. I joined a little late. I was busy with something else. So I would love to. Anyway, I'm planning to watch the first half of the recording anyway. So thank you very much for this.
Okay. Thank you.
Krishna, we did a session by ICF member Anupam Chaudhary on ChatGPT and AI, and he had covered all the different options other than ChatGPT that are available. Some are used for image creation, some are used for other things. So you can check it out on our YouTube channel. It's on the ICF YouTube channel.
Right. I'll do that. Thank you very much. Okay.
That was like very comprehensive, and he had shared the PPT also. That also we can share with you. I have shared my number with you. You can message me on WhatsApp.
Yeah, sure. We are already friends on WhatsApp, if you know.
Okay. There are like multiple people with the same name, so that becomes a hindrance in recognizing sometimes.
Sure. No problem. I'm just
Yeah.
we were already friends on WhatsApp.
Okay. Thanks, Krishna. Thanks, Visa, for a very comprehensive session. A nice PPT. I like the PPT, the use of colors in the PPT, although in all tech, we are not supposed to use the colors, but very eye-catching colors were used. And I know you covered a lot in the book, in the chapter, but because things are moving
Within
so
an hour, it's
quickly, particularly when it comes to technology. So today's webinar, I would say, was a step ahead of that. But before we go ahead, we also need to know what was behind, what's our legacy. So all these things combine and create a whole. So thanks, participants. And any query you have, Mary has already mentioned in the chat box. You can send us the query. Visa will be happy to answer your queries.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Mary, for the opportunity.
No, thank you, Visa. Thank you, everyone. So we'll see you next time. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, Mary.